Hi, this is Matt Donegan from Business Spotlight. I'm here with Karen. Karen, tell me about you. Tell me about your business.
Hi, Matt. Thanks very much for having me. My name's Karen Simmonds, and I am the founder of a business called Travel Matters. And I also founded a campaign called Make Travel Matter.
Okay. So how long has the business been going?
So we are celebrating 25 years of trading this year, and we've been doing lots of interesting things within the business and with our clients. We've got a wonderful it's a bi-monthly competition that's going at the moment, but we're going to be celebrating in September with a big party in central London.
Fantastic. 25 years in business. Well done. Considering the number of business failures within the first 5 years, let alone 10, 25 years is quite some achievement. So can I just ask you, what made you start the business in the first place?
So I left school after having done A-levels. I don't think the education system was quite right for me. I was very much a bit of a lone ranger, let's say, in the sense that academia didn't quite suit my style of learning. So I did come out of school with some A-levels, French, German and art. And with the languages, I think that's really what was the main driver to go overseas and to try and improve on those languages. So I found myself working in Germany, actually, spoke German, and also in France, spoke French as well. And the work was generally seasonal work, like a ski chalet hostess, an area manager for a villa company. I did a fair amount of tour guiding around Europe for a company called Top Deck Travel, whereby we were taking young New Zealanders and Australians, 18 to 35-year-olds, all around Europe, which was very hard work. But it was all these different aspects of tourism and hospitality that basically empowered me and gave me the perhaps deluded impression that I could then set up in business on my own, which I tried to do, and obviously failed at some aspects of jumping over hurdles and not actually getting over them. But it's through some of those failures as you start up in business that can refine you, and certainly did refine me and enabled me to then set up the business that I have now, Travel Matters.
So you had a slogan just now, but could you tell me what that slogan is again? Or campaign?
Yes. So the business is called Travel Matters.
Yes.
But in 2009, when I was celebrating, was it 2009? Sorry, it was basically when I was celebrating 10 years of the business. I was on the River Ganges at a place in India called Varanasi. I'm not sure whether you've traveled to India before, but Varanasi is a very spiritual place.
Yes.
And I had an epiphany moment while I was celebrating the 10 years of the business. And that was, I was kind of praying actually, thank you for 10 years of the business. What does the next 10 years look like? And I swear I heard an audible voice say, make travel matter. And then it's like, okay, well, what will that look like? And it's a campaign that has grown organically into giving tips and nudges, really. It's not a sort of wagging the stick at people or telling them how they should travel, but it's trying to encourage them to think and travel with more consideration and with more respect and be a more responsible traveller. So yeah, make travel matter was the slogan I think you were referring to, Matt.
It was, yeah. And you've explained it really well there. So, and the philosophy behind it is making sure that the traveller, when they go somewhere, obviously they're being respectful. They're not trying to bring their culture and drag it with them. They're trying to drag the culture out of the environment that they're in.
Absolutely, yes. I think the main part of that message is that when we travel, that we have to remember that we're visitors in host communities, and well, you've probably seen it or read about it in the media. There's quite a lot of backlash now with over tourism, hotspots, honeypot spots. That where you know there's too many people, and clearly residents and people in those host communities are fed up because of the consumer behavior of sort of take and not really sort of giving back to those communities or understanding them and traveling sensitively and treading lightly, you know.
So can I ask you to give me 3 top tips for making travel matter then? What are your 3 top?
Well, when you pack your bags and perhaps get on an aircraft or go into a ferry, don't leave your brains behind. You know, some people, I understand the idea of holiday, holy day, Sabbath, we all need to rest, but yeah, be respectful when you're traveling, and then to consider the places, the people, as well as the planet. You know, we've just recently become a B Corp certified business. Well, we became B Corp certified in 2023, and the pillars of becoming a B Corp certified business are all about people, places, and the planet. Really making sure you recognise your social impact, not just for your employers, your clients, and your local community. So I think that is all embedded in our Make Travel Matter campaign as well.
Yeah. So that's brilliant. As you may well know, I'm a big fan of B Corp. I think it's the way forward in business. So to do that inside, so for people who don't quite know what B Corp is looking after all the stakeholders, isn't it? It's about having one eye on ESG, sustainability, etc. It's also about having a good work environment for your staff. Your suppliers, as well as your shareholders, are actually the stakeholders in the business, and you have a legal requirement, not just on a little piece of paper somewhere, but you have a legal requirement that you run the business with those elements in mind. How do you find that becoming a B Corp in travel, when travel itself, sustainability issues around it, what do you find the biggest challenge about running a B Corp business in the travel sector?
It's a really, really good question. I think I have real challenges around the airlines that are incentivizing people to travel more frequently with their frequent flyer programs, for example. And this is a question to pose to them really, or for government to discuss with those airlines, for example. You know, if some of that money were ring-fenced into research and development and was giving back somehow to ensure that they're really looking at more renewable energy and trying to come away from the fossil fuels, that would be great. I mean, that's a big challenge though, isn't it? And I really don't have the answer to that. But the other thing is people that jump onto cruise ships as well. I understand cruise ships can be a really good way for those perhaps more with mobility issues or elderly that don't want to travel so hard on their adventures. You know, that perhaps getting onto a cruise ship is a good way to still get to see the world. But have those people actually thought about how much of the money is going back into the countries that they're actually visiting?
I guess there's the other aspect about cruises is you don't actually see very much the places you're going to see that you go. I mean, I've been in environments where I've been taking a holiday somewhere, and we've been in a port when a boat comes in and they run off, do a little bit of shopping right around the centre, and then run back on afterwards. Didn't really allow for much of the integration that you're talking about, the kind of living in that space, let alone the issues with with regards to the fuel consumption that some of these cruise lines use. So I guess, yeah, I mean, it must be, there are challenges in your profession, right? There really are. What can I ask you, what makes you stand out? What makes Travel Matters stand out? Apart from your kind of mission, you've got a why, right? You've got a purpose in your business. What other things stand out about your business?
Okay, well, I like to think that our business has been fruitful because people understand the message and what we believe in as a business. Trade-wise, perhaps I'm the big disruptor, or Travel Matters is the big disruptor, because clearly it doesn't sit well, does it? You know, you have a travel business, but then you're not encouraging people to travel in a particular way. What we stand for at Travel Matters is we're offering a service to people that are perhaps more time poor. They want to really get under the skin of the country, have an immersive experience, a transformative experience. They're keen to see tourism be a force for good, and that they're keen to be educated in some ways, but perhaps these days with the internet, sometimes we can be so bowled over with the amount of choice, and well, then you have trusted voices or websites, fake websites, AI not having everything as accurate as it could be. So I like to think that, you know, we've been around for 25 years because of word of mouth and recommendations, and for that I'm very grateful.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing from you is about authenticity.
Yeah.
So there's it reminds me a bit of the brand Patagonia, who's who part marketing, part philosophy. You know, if you buy from Patagonia, you expect that garment to last 20, 25 years. And they don't want to sell it to you unless that's the spirit that you buy it in, which it sounds like you're doing that with travel. It's the sort of Patagonia of travel. Can I draw that analogy?
Wow, well, I would be truly flattered if that is the analogy that you're thinking about, because I have a lot of deep respect for the founders of that business. Yeah.
So much. And I think we still want to go out and travel in our society. It's, as you say, you know, the holiday is kind of sacrosanct to many people, but you're right, we do have to do it responsibly. I completely agree. Sustainability is on the agenda all the time now, and as we identified earlier, actually that could jar with your industry, but you're taking a very different approach to it. So maybe you do position yourself as the Patagonia of travel. So I'll say it if you don't. So so look, what have been your biggest learnings in 25 years in business? What have been your biggest learnings?
Well, certainly as I was setting up in business, I was incredibly naive, and I had to pull pints in my local pub to supplement the income. And then, of course, I've had children in between, and that was a big learning, because I thought I was invincible, and I could breastfeed my first baby while I was taking an inquiry over the phone with the headset. Well, I didn't have a headset in those days. It was just the old-fashioned telephone. Baby being breastfed and not wanting to tell the client that I'm a new mother. So yeah, first 6 months of becoming a mother and also having your own business, thinking you can do everything, it clearly leads to burnout or postnatal depression. So I've had to learn a lot about not feeling that you have to be in complete control all the time, or just being a bit kinder to myself. And actually that's still work in progress. As a woman in business, that's a totally different subject matter, so you better not get me started. But yeah, there's quite a lot to learn about trying to feel like you have to prove yourself.
Yeah. I had a story once. I was at a seminar. It was about fundraising, and there were three female founders on the panel and one guy. And the guy was asking the questions, and he was asking about fundraising. This one particular founder, she was hugely successful. She said the way that she raised money in the early days of her business was she had to take a guy into the room and provide him with some of the language to say during the meeting, because the questions would be addressed at the guy, not her. Do you still feel there's a bit like that out there?
Yeah, probably. Yes. It's quite encouraging to see quite a few panels within the travel and tourism sector having women on those panels now. But I've only really seen that happen. I mean, we've all gone through the pandemic, and clearly travel hospitality was massively affected, wasn't it? But I think during those times where it seemed like, okay, well, let's all start anew again, let's try and build up, that there was this sort of catalyst and a movement to build back better, and that did mean having more equality in C-suites and on panels. So it's slow, but I am encouraged. It's definitely happening within my sector now, maybe perhaps more in some of the more forward-thinking countries. Yeah, sadly, it's not the case everywhere.
So, ask you another question here, and that's based around what the future holds for you, because you've pointed to a future where we hope more women are going to be more recognised in business. What about you personally? What about your business? What's the plans for you at the moment? What's the plans for you, and what's the plans for your business?
Well, I have been very much on a journey of delegation and catching up with all those lunch breaks that I never had. And actually, it feels good to have a better work-life balance. Couple of years, well, I say a couple of years ago, it's not quite a couple of years ago, it was only last year, we created a new sort of business revenue stream, I suppose is the best way to do it, whereby we're offering people that are very much interested in travel, are curious, they love travel, they like being in the service sector. We invited them to come along and create their own lead generation, but they became travel advisors. So it's not, I don't want to use the terminology as a franchise, because it's not quite a franchise, but what we've done is suddenly have 4-5 new members to our team that are enjoying the benefits of being a travel advisor, of helping people with booking their adventures or holidays, sabbaticals, leisure trips. And the way it works in our sector is that we get commission when we put stuff together through our supply chain. So they can make a bit of money, they can get to travel and experience different cultures and meet new people and just enjoy being in what is quite an incestuous industry, actually, travel and tourism.
Okay, so that's about the business. What about you? So what about your personal goals? How are they aligning with the business objectives?
Yes, I think they are actually, Matt. So during the pandemic, when we couldn't travel anywhere, I went back full circle into doing what I did to start with, which was organising retreats for people. So when I was younger and I didn't have kids, I used to organise like kite surfing retreats down in the Western Algarve of Portugal. But that was very niche market, and that's where I was having to pull pints in my local pub to supplement my income. Well, during the pandemic, when we couldn't travel, but only domestic travel, i.e. in the UK, and as we were starting to do our B Corp certification, which took over 14 months, I thought, well, I'm going to start organising retreats around my new pastime. I have been doing this for 15 years. I like swimming in outdoor swimming, cold water swimming, and there's a lot of benefits around cold water immersion. So I organised some retreats in Scotland, and I'm kind of half Scottish, I suppose, or quarter Scottish, my father is. And so I've been hosting these retreats in Scotland, wild swimming and creative writing. And what we say is that once you've got into the water, you come out feeling like you can do anything. You get a real natural high. It's very, very good for you, both physically as well as mentally. And I think it sort of sharpens your focus and unlocks creativity. So I'm enjoying this kind of sweet spot of enjoying my pastime, which is swimming outdoors, and bringing more people on the journey with me. I'm quite evangelical about the benefits. And so I trained as an open water lifeguard, believe it or not. So I was able to host these retreats safely and responsibly. And that's what I'm enjoying doing now as well. Yeah.
Do you know what? When I speak to a lot of business owners, as you would imagine, and one of the things that I often come across is when businesses, sometimes they struggle. I mean, running a business is tough, right? It's a tough thing to do, and I often find them struggling, particularly when they don't have a purpose, when they don't have a why. What's really, really coming out in this conversation is you've got your why completely down. You've got personal goals and objectives. You've got pastimes and activities that nurture you. Just by doing them, you've transformed your company from a B Corp into a B Corp, and you've developed a market position which makes you the Patagonia of the travel industry. That's brilliant. That's fantastic. That's a why. That's a why, right? Because I think it's Nietzsche who said that if you have a strong enough why, then the how, no matter how hard it is, you'll do it. You'll get to your why. You've got your why. That's brilliant. That's fantastic. So look, really want to keep in contact. I want to find out how the B Corp journey goes for you, actually, because it's not easy to do. I mean, you took 14 months. That doesn't sound too different from what I've heard before. I mean, it's not an easy journey, and it sounds like a lot of your business hasn't been an easy journey. You haven't taken the easy path. So, and it sounds like you don't do that in life either, whether it's a train in Varanasi or turning into a B Corp. So look, absolutely fantastic speaking with you. I love speaking with businesses that have got a heart, particularly around sustainability as well. So absolutely fantastic speaking with you. Let's keep in contact. Really want to hear about the next stage of your journey. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much for the privilege, Matt. Nice to meet you.
Thanks, Karen. Bye-bye.